this and where the Trump administration stands tonight on this?
Well, I think that the Trump administration may lose this case. It has to do with the transporting of those gang members outside the country. But I think it'll win on a bunch of others. So I also think this, Brett, that one of the problems here is that these federal judges who have supposedly limited jurisdiction, limited in no small part by the cases before them, issue these nationwide injunctions whose effects reach far beyond the parties before them in these cases. And the Supreme Court has never spoken on this, although two current justices have suggested they think it's illegitimate to do that. If they rein that in, that will go a long way to cooling things down, I think.
Yeah, Mark Levin, Matthew, took to X saying, "Sorry, Judge, but your oral directive is insufficient, says the precedent in your own federal district. I should know, as Landmark Legal Foundation litigated 2003 case against the EPA that underscores the requirement for a written order." He said more on the story with Martha.
You don't just sit at the bench and say, you ought to stop doing this and stop doing that. It doesn't necessarily get to everybody, certainly not in a timely way. He figured it out. It was a little late. It's only been the custom, practice, and tradition in that courtroom for at least 23 years when I litigated this case, which is put your damn order in writing, Judge, so the people you're bullying around or ordering around know exactly what you're doing. It's called giving them notice.
So that's the specifics in his view on this case, Matthew, but broadly the separation of powers and how much power a district judge has on this issue is really the bigger issue.
Yes, absolutely. And as Brett says, these district judges are overreaching. Now I have a rule, Brett, which is to always defer to the great one. So I'm going to talk about the political angle here. And that is judicial activism of the sort we're seeing from these district judges, I believe is going to prove very unpopular. When you look at that new Fox poll that came out today, immigration is Trump's strongest issue, and it's driving his popularity at a highest level in the Fox poll. So he's operating from a position of strength here, and I think the voters are giving him a lot of leeway as these cases make their way through the legal system.
In an interview with Laura Ingraham, Steph, this is what the president said about those orders.
Are there circumstances when you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges.
But going forward,
I had judges
would
that
you
were
defy a court
stuck
order? Because we all know that was out.
I never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that.
Steph, your take on this?
I mean, one thing to remember is that a judge stopping, an executive action is not a new phenomenon. It has been a frustration for presidents on both sides of the aisle, especially in the immigration space. But how this plays out, whether we see any ramifications for the Trump administration deciding to ignore what the judge asked them to do and turning around those planes, deporting Venezuelans, that's going to be a key area to watch and something a lot of people have been waiting to see whether Trump would be willing to move forward and ignore a court order.
Says he won't. Britt, and you buy it?